Welcome to The Explainer. Okay, today we are going on an absolutely mind-bending journey. We're going to peel back the layers of reality and challenge pretty much everything you think you know about the universe around you. So prepare to completely stretch your imagination as we travel from the limits of a zero-dimensional point all the way up to the terrifying power of the 11th dimension. Let me ask you a question to kick things off. Are you truly sitting perfectly still right now? Your intuition probably screams, well, yeah, obviously. But according to physics, you absolutely are not. Even if you feel totally stationary, you're relentlessly moving forward. We are all essentially prisoners on a biological and temporal timeline, just coasting through the dimension of time at a constant rate. Every single second, you are traveling. Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap for today's climb. First, escaping the Flatland. Then, unlocking the fourth dimension, followed by the math of hyperspace. We'll then rapidly climb the cosmic ladder in ascending to 11D, and finally wrap up with a massive question. Are we a simulation? Section 1. Escaping the Flatland. The limits of our perception. To really wrap our heads around higher dimensions, I need you to completely step out of your comfortable everyday 3D mindset. We have to look down before we can look up. Imagine a world that is entirely flat, literally like characters drawn on a piece of paper. This thought experiment is famously known as Flatland. The residents here, these 2D prisoners, live their entire lives without any awareness whatsoever of a third dimension. They can move left, right, forward, and backward, but the very idea of up or down, it's completely beyond their comprehension. To them, we 3D beings exist in a kind of God's eye perspective. We can see inside their sealed houses, we can see their internal organs, and we hover right above them while they remain utterly blind to us. So what happens if a 3D object, like a basketball, passes straight through their 2D flat plane? Well, because they could only perceive cross-sections, they wouldn't see a sphere. They would see a tiny point appear out of nowhere, magically grow into a wide flat circle, shrink back down, and then just vanish. To them, it defies all logic. It looks like shape-shifting magic. And this is absolutely vital to understand because it lays the exact groundwork for how we would perceive something passing through our world from a higher dimension. Moving on to Section 2, unlocking the fourth dimension, time, space, and a new direction. As we move up the ladder to the dimension that immediately surrounds and traps us, put yourself in the shoes of both the Flatland prisoner and the higher dimensional observer. This brilliantly illustrates the dichotomy of the fourth dimension. There are actually two ways experts look at this. On one side, we have geometric 4D, which is driven by mathematicians. This is the idea of a literal, physical new direction that is completely separate from up, down, left, right, forward, and backward. This gives us mind-bending shapes like tesseracts. On the other side, we have physics 4D, Einstein's physical reality of space-time, introduced with the help of Hermann Minkowski. In this view, time and space are woven together into a single four-dimensional fabric. To ground this abstract physics, let's look at tangible daily anchors. You know, Einstein proved that the faster you move through space, the slower you move through time, right? Well, that's exactly why the GPS satellites orbiting our Earth actually have to adjust their internal clocks to match ours. They are literally experiencing time differently. Plus, gravity isn't a magnetic pole. It's massive objects actually warping that 4D space-time fabric. And if we look at the geometric side, a 4D burglar could effortlessly reach into a locked, sealed 3D bank vault and steal a diamond without ever breaking the walls, just like you could lift a drawing straight out of a 2D square. All right, Section 3, the weird math of hyperspace, where human intuition totally fails. Consider this a quick palate cleanser before our grand finale. In our normal 3D world, if you have a closed loop tied in a knot, you have to physically cut the string to unknot it. There's no way around it. But higher dimensions offer physical cheat codes. In a four-dimensional space, you can actually unknot a tied loop without ever cutting it. You simply move it through that extra dimensional access, allowing the shape to mathematically pass right through itself. Now, what's really interesting about this is the totally bizarre behavior of volume in higher dimensions. If you calculate the volume of a sphere with a radius of 1 across different dimensions, it doesn't just keep growing forever. The volume actually peaks in the fifth dimension. After 5D, as the dimensions increase to 6, 7, and beyond, the volume of that sphere actually begins to shrink back down towards 0. It's a completely counterintuitive geometric reality. And if you want to talk about wildly complex math, just look at this massive number, 196,560. In geometry, there's something called a kissing number. That's the maximum number of spheres that can perfectly touch a single central sphere at the exact same time. In 2D, it's 6. In our 3D world, it's 12. But mathematicians have discovered that in the 24th dimension, exactly 196,560 spheres can perfectly pack together and kiss a central sphere. It just goes to show how insanely complex optimal packing gets compared to our simple 3D world. Let's move to section 4 and see how this builds. Ascending to dimension 11, the hierarchy of cosmic possibilities. Hang on tight, because we are about to rapidly ascend from the 5th dimension all the way to the 11th. We start this ascent at the 5th dimension. Here, a higher dimensional being could view our timeline like scenes on a DVD remote control, fast-forwarding, rewinding, or skipping to alternate paths you could have taken. Step up to the 6th dimension, and they are viewing all possible timelines originating from our specific Big Bang simultaneously, mapping outcomes like an architect. At the 7th dimension, we completely break out of our universe. A 7D being could travel to entirely different universes built on radically different fundamental laws of physics, like a universe where gravity pushes instead of pulls. From here, the scale becomes truly terrifying. An 8D entity perceives infinite multiverses all at once, treating reality like a chessboard. A 9D being has total awareness of every single physical law, outcome, and timeline simultaneously. And all of this culminates at the 11th dimension. This is the realm proposed by advanced physics, like string theory. In the 11th dimension, entities are no longer just living inside reality. At this level, they aren't just viewing or knowing reality. They are the grand architects, intertwined with the vibrating fabric that actually generates reality itself.
Which brings us to section 5. Are we a simulation? Puppets or puppeteers?
Let's bring all these vast cosmic concepts crashing right back down to Earth with a mind-bending philosophical application. So, the crucial point is this. If higher dimensional beings exist, they possess the omnipotent ability to orchestrate the initial conditions and physical laws of universes, almost exactly like programmers writing computer code. We're already building incredibly complex predictive computer simulations of our own. If an 11th dimensional being can map out and manipulate reality this effortlessly, it raises a massive red flag. Our tangible, shared 3D reality might simply be a subsimulation, code running inside an even higher dimensional framework. As the philosopher Nick Bostrom famously put it, the chance of us being in a simulation is equal to the number of simulated beings that exist. And here's why this deeply matters to you and me. Mapping out hyperspace isn't just about fun math or imaginary shapes. It forces us to confront our deepest beliefs about consciousness, the concept of free will, and whether the reality we touch and feel is truly the base level of existence or just a deeply complex hologram. And that leaves us staring at this final, massive thought. As we build AI and run our own virtual worlds, we really like to view ourselves as the masters of creation. But when you look at the sheer scale of the 11 dimensions, you have to wonder, are we the puppeteers, or are we just the puppets dancing on the strings of a higher dimensional simulation? I'll let you sit with that. Keep exploring, keep questioning, and thank you for joining me on this explainer.